Okay, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our series of lunchtime webinars. So my name is Katrina Collins, and we're using our video for the first time in our GoToWebinar, so you can see who we have on the webinar with us today. I'm also joined today by Clive Carroll, who is the Director of Membership for the PMI Ireland Chapter, and Jackie Fagan is joining me once again, who is the Vice President of the Chapter. We'll all wave and say hello. We are delighted to welcome Priya. She is the Program Manager with CapGemini, and she's going to be presenting to us today on our webinar. I think we could say our subject today is of interest to the project management community. It's typically something that's of interest to us, but even more so today. I think a lot of us are probably going through some challenging times where our companies are reviewing our current digital strategies in the wake of all this remote working. So I think we can all expect to get a lot from Priya's session today. So it's brought about massive changes in the technology advancements, and organizations are exploring innovative, and I can't speak anymore, guys, and often fundamental changes in their business processes. So Priya is going to bring us on an interactive journey. So we're going to be trying a few different things today to explore the goals and challenges of digital transformation and to identify the X factor of any transformation program. So hopefully this is going to be nice and interactive, and it's going to get interesting. We do welcome your interaction throughout the webinar. So do use the questions, pop some questions in, and I'll be interacting with Priya throughout the webinar, and I'll be giving her those questions as we go along. Probably hold a lot of our questions to the end, but as I said, there is a bit of interaction. Do also use the questions to share your experiences and your personal tips. You probably all have experience at the moment with digital transformation as well. And I do want to say a little word before I hand over and let Priya introduce herself. If you guys are probably used to it now, if you've joined our webinars before, if you can grab your phone, you can go to menti.com and use the code 677921. We have a couple of questions at the beginning, and we have a couple of questions at the end, again, to get some feedback and some questions for Priya. And we plan to use menti.com to use that. You can also use the questions bar in the chat room, so feel free to do that at any stage that you want to. So Priya, I'm going to hand over to you now, and you can introduce yourself, and I will hand over the screen to you as well. Our first question there we go. I'm going to do that now.
Yeah. So let me share my screen. I'm going to close this. I'm going to reduce
while you're sharing your screen, Priya, I just want to say that everyone is so far answering the first question, and we're always curious to know on the webinars, where are you coming from? Yeah. Where are you joining us from? And today we've got an even better mix, I'm glad to say. We're getting, again, a lot of people from Dublin, but we've got Tipperary, we've got Galway, we've got Cork, we've got Clare. And this is great for us in the PMI Ireland chapter, because we're always conscious with the events that we host that we try and reach out to the chapter membership across the country. So I know Clive, who's on with us today as a panelist, is definitely very interested to see that we're reaching more people with the webinar.
I'm supporting the leash flag.
Are you on your own there, Clive?
Oh, no, there's thousands of us, but we don't get up to Dublin too much. Dublin's winning too much.
All right. Well, now it's the ideal opportunity. We don't have to come up.
Okay. Let us know there when you're ready, Priya, to present.
Yeah, I am ready. Are you able to see my screen?
Not yet, no.
Oh, no. Why not?
Can you see?
Now I can see it.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm starting off now. So project managers, are you ready to brace your X factor for the digital transformation? Can I see a yes or no on the chat box? Let me see whether I can see anything.
Yep, I'm getting a lot of yeses in the chat box.
Okay, cool. Very nice. Okay, so I will now, get started. Okay, the X factor. Are you aware of the X factor? Oh, wait a second. What does a TV show got to do with digital transformation? Right? So I presented this this as a virtual talk for the Passion for Projects conference for PMI Sweden, and I saw a post on the LinkedIn saying The question is, what is the X factor? And I think today we are going to answer that very question. That day I answered for the PMI student folks, and today I'm going to answer this for the PMI Ireland folks as well. So just to get started, last year in May, I think I was in Dublin for the PMI EMEA Congress 2019, beautiful city, Dublin. And I'm so happy to come back and reconnect virtually with the Ireland folks and, the Dublin folks here. All right, so what is digital transformation? Again, a question for you. You might be wondering why is she asking so many questions. So what, according to you, is digital transformation? All right, I'm not able to see any chat though, but do we have anything coming up? All right.
Repeat the question for me there again, Priya. What did you just ask?
What according to you is digital transformation?
Let me ask.
You are asking those questions. I don't see the audience chat though. Yeah. All right.
No one's brave enough to answer the question at the moment. So we'll have to see.
Okay. So I get a very
And we know from, actually there's a few people coming up now. So a couple of people have said more remote working, moving from paper-based system to digital, using digital tech to change your business, leveraging technology. These are all great. And I know, Clive, yesterday you said it's just another word for a change, a business change. So yeah, so lots of great input from the audience at the moment. Integrating technology.
Okay, so all are good answers, okay, but I will give you a small example of digital transformation. 1988, if I had to book a ticket from Mumbai to Dublin, I'm taking the example of Dublin because I was there recently, I would have to go to a travel agent's office, right, and kind of personally go there, give all the details and book my ticket, right? In 1999, over the advent of the internet, now I have the ability to book the ticket on my web, on my desktop, on the internet, right? However, in 2014, I would probably use an app on my mobile phone to do that because mobiles were so omnipresent at this point of time. And now probably I will ask Siri, can you book a ticket for me from Mumbai to Dublin? And that is what we call as a voice enabled search. So this journey from me going personally to the travel agent's office to doing a web search or a web booking a ticket on the web and then booking my ticket on the app till to a voice enabled search is nothing but digital transformation of the travel industry. And that's exactly what digital transformation is all about. And this is just one example, that one industry that I'm citing here. And all industries we know, and even in this COVID era, we know that how rapidly we digitally transformed. In India, work from home is not so prevalent, but with the COVID coming in, we overnight switched to work from home, and it was amazing to see how the IT companies adapted and evolved to enable all that. We had in pockets and places, but now it's in a large scale. So that's probably is what digital transformation is all about. So but let me ask Siri again, what is digital transformation? Siri, hey Siri, what is digital transformation? And this is what Siri is telling me. And just as Clive said, right, digital transformation is not necessarily about the digital technology, but is about the fact that a technology that is digital allows people to solve some problems. So key here is in the digital transformation is not the fact that it is digital, but the fact that there is a transformation which is going on. And that is the key where we go ahead and solve a business problem, and that leads to a new way of working. So next time when someone asks you what is digital transformation, now you know what to say. It is the technology that is digital that solves a business problem. That precisely is what digital transformation is. Okay, now do you remember this, the X factor? Okay, I need to see the chat box again. Okay, I am not able to see the audience chat. So Katrina, would you please tell me what the audience think the X Factor is all about?
We've lost your audio there, Katrina.
All right.
I'm chatting away on mute.
What do you mean? What do you think?
Great. So got a good few answers. I'm laughing because you are right. X Factor does remind us of the television program, and a few responses that have been talent competition. Simon Cowell, I particularly love that answer, Jared.
Yeah.
Anyone to be famous from John. So it's there's some quite funny answers coming back, and they're all related to the X Factor. Eamon has said having an edge, and Jared, I think this is a very topical one. Your USP, so your unique selling point,
Wow.
your superpower from Fiona. And John has said project management, of course, is our X Factor.
True.
Yeah, so it is. I mean, joking. It's a famous talent competition, but yeah, I think people do understand it is. I think USP from Jared is a good definition. Yeah. Thanks, guys. Great.
Yeah. So you nailed it, guys, and it is the USP. It is something that makes you unique. And as you know, other X Factor television show, which was produced by a British director, Simon Cowell, and it is where there are contestants who come and display their unique capabilities, something that makes them so unique, like a star quality. And as you know, at the end of the program, at the end of the series, they get a award or a contract, and not only the winner but also the people, those who are the finalists, get some amount of recognition and publicity. So that is precisely what X Factor is. Now my next question to you: what is the X Factor of PMI or PMI Ireland Chapter?
Okay, I shall ask the question of the audience again. What is the X Factor of PMI Ireland Chapter? We should, I think, put Clive on the spot for that one as well, because he's our member. I mean, I can answer from my own opinion, because I've been a member for, I think nearly 18 years now. And actually, George has answered, I think, an excellent question here. He sees the X Factor as the community of kindred spirits, and John has said it's members. Speaking from a personal opinion, it's definitely. I think Norma has used this phrase last week when she did her webinar on remote working. It's our tribe. So it's a group of people that I know that experience similar things to me. So I have a tribe, as Norma would say. It's energy. Marion, and this is, I feel very sad because Marion is so right when she says this, networking at live events if possible. So yes, we are all a little bit at sea at the moment with our webinar events. It's energy, international expertise from Eamon, and I think that's a lovely one. It's a bit of a shout out to you, Priya, because at least the webinars are enabling us to have people speak to us internationally. Yeah, so I think those are some great responses from people. Hopefully that's hitting the mark, Priya.
Also, Priya,
and
volunteers. Just from the membership, our volunteers, volunteers within the PMI.
That's great, Clive.
Definitely. I was just about to say that for me, it is the passion of the volunteers. Look at this webinar. Amid so many corona issues and COVID-19, we have organized this webinar. And I have joined across like 7,000 kilometers across the globe to come and present in this webinar. And all is possible because of passionate people like, the volunteers in the PMI Ireland chapter. And I think that is the X Factor of PMI Ireland chapter and PMI as a whole, right? But what I would like you to pause and think now, what is your X Factor? Too many questions, right?
Absolutely perfect. And guys, you can use the Menti poll as well. I've actually opened, if you go back into 677921, you can tell us what you think your X Factor is, and we've already got people answering us here as well on the chat. So so don't worry, guys. By the way, Priya put Jackie, Clive, and myself to work yesterday on this. So
Okay,
she's
just to
gonna
give you an
put-
example then.
We're
Give you
all
an
very
example.
nervous. Yeah, exactly.
What I thought
Yeah,
about myself.
We're all very
Yeah, go ahead.
excited.
Yeah,
So,
with
Priya, a
that,
couple of
an example for you guys would be. Who's going? Just an example,
People are
guys.
coming.
For me would be that I'm calm and cool under pressure. I work as an instance manager at the moment. A large
Right.
Pfizer, said I say for Pfizer, pharmaceutical company. So we at this present time definitely calm and coolness under all that's going on at the moment is a good X factor to have.
Right.
So, guys, Jackie here, when Priya put us under the
Jackie, go
test
ahead.
yesterday, I was saying, I'm not quite
Yeah,
sure what my
Jackie, go ahead.
factor is. And then they all said, well, actually, it's fun, Jackie. And I said, not quite sure it's that very professional. But yes, I suppose my X factor is the passion for project management, but being able to have the fun element and the entertainment with it, which I think in the Ireland chapter we're fairly good at.
Yeah, yeah.
Got lots and lots of answers from
Katrina, what about you?
Yeah, so I think for me, on a serious note, and I think it's a very important part of what we do as a project manager is the ability to bring teams together to communicate. So I'm not a technical project manager. I've said to somebody recently, I'm technology and industry agnostic. I've actually worked across a lot of different industries. One of the things that I see as common to project management is the ability to get people to communicate with each other, because it's hugely important in projects. And just looking at what all of the response, I'm getting loads of responses on Menti and also on the question chat. So just really quickly, Priya, just a good few of them from everyone.
Sure.
We've got being able to implement PMBOK in my job, paying attention to detail and delving into the actual issues from Mary, and I think that's a great one. My optimism, enthusiasm from Chris. Getting the best out of teams from Jer, and I think every project manager will agree that getting the best out of teams. There's so many responses here. Patience, learning quickly, pattern recognition, organizational skills. Somebody did put fun in here, by the way.
Wasn't me.
It may well have been. But organizing a lot around commitment, collaboration, communication, knowing the PMBOK. Super communicator is what one person has said here as well. So in getting buy-in from all the required individuals, Jerome, I would say that's not just even an X factor, that's actually a superpower. If you can get the buy-in from all the required individuals, that's definitely your superpower. Yep, Priya.
All right. So for me, my X factor is that I can collaborate and network with anyone. So I feel that, networking and collaboration is a very important aspect of project management. And it is through networking that, I can unlock opportunities like this, coming and speaking to an international audience like a PMI Ireland chapter. And I have few more coming, upcoming webinars as well for the different chapters all across the world. So networking and collaboration is my X factor. Now let us see, what is the X factor of this card? Do you recognize this card? This is a Ferrari, right? So what is the X factor of this card? Okay, are you getting some chats, answers, Katrina? Okay. Right.
Just let everyone know that's a picture of Jackie's car.
Chance to be a fine thing, guys.
Yeah, cool.
We've got, actually, it's funny, we've got Flash from John, Performance from Eamon, Brand has come up a few times from Dina and Thomas, the Sound of the Engine from Mary, the Price, Cachet, Speed, Sleek, Design. Yeah, so I think it's definitely something that people recognize when they see it, and I think, probably Mary's right, when you hear it as well, you definitely know that it's a fast car that's coming your way. The color, the perceived wealth status, that's an interesting one.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah, yeah. So I get this all the time. It is the status symbol of, when if you own a Ferrari like Jackie owns, so she is definitely super high in status. That's what I would say. I get these answers all the time in webinars, but actually, if you pause and think, it is the quality of the components that Ferrari manufactures, and that's the X factor. They manufacture few cars, but whatever they do is top notch in quality. So that is the X factor of Ferrari. What about Google? I'm sure everyone uses Google all the time. I would not survive a single day without doing a Google search. So what about
That's true.
Google? What is the X factor of Google?
Jackie, Clive, what do you think? I've just asked that question.
Well, it's probably the whole package, to be quite honest with you. The fact they easy access to information at the tip of a finger, and
Right.
various feedbacks in terms of if you do the Google search. And more recently, actually, the images collateral that it has is brilliant. I've started putting up inspirational quotes in the garden for passerbys, and you can just pull them down off it at like a drop of a hat like that. No, it's brilliant.
Getting a lot of answers.
The vast repository of knowledge it holds, like at your fingertips, which before, if any of my age group might remember, it was encyclopedias we had. There was no Google, but for me, you know, such access to such an amount of knowledge at your fingertips now, it's just unbelievable.
True.
Right.
And lots of similar answers, Priya, from the audience as well. A lot talking about how easy it is to use, how simple the design is, how it always has the answer, and one interesting response from Dino, a privacy intrusion. And it's definitely something that we are all very aware of in the background while we're getting all this useful information. But a lot of the answers are around that, you know, that it is accessible, it's best in class,
Sure.
it's one of the best engines, it's the one where you feel like you'll get the answer most of the time. That's great.
Right. There, see, if you look at it, in past history, there have been so many search engines, but none of them could survive. And Google could survive because of the algorithm of the search engine that they have behind it. And you know that if you type something in Google, you will definitely get an answer, and that too in a split of a second. And that algorithm is the X factor of Google, and that's how Google is a superpower in the search engines today. So that's my opinion. And what about this, the iPhone? And this is my favorite one. X factor of an iPhone.
Already getting, it's a great answer from Geraldine, home office in your hand. Someone has actually said joy to use. Now, I would like to say that I'm an Android user and not an Apple user, so I would like to say that Android is a joy to use, but we won't start a war on this webinar. The Apple symbol from Mike, the brand, ease of use and commonality, quality, aesthetic, iconic design from Sophie. So yeah, so lots of, actually there's a lot of commonality in the answers there. I mean, definitely the Apple symbol and the brand are very well known.
Right. So Jackie, you are cutting out for me. But for me, the user experience is what makes Apple so unique. So once you lay your hand on an Apple iPhone or an iPad, the experience that you get while using it, and that is the X factor of Apple for me. But of course, all answers are good. You know, it's a home office definitely, and I have heard on something on the ease of use, and these are really great answers. And that makes Apple so unique here, the iPhone. All right, now that we know what is digital transformation, we know what is an X factor. X factor is something that makes you unique. It's your USP. It's something that makes you a star quality. What do you think would be the X factor of a digital transformation program? So another
Guys,
question.
I lost Priya.
What do you think?
Can you hear her?
I can hear you.
Yep, let me just answer let me just ask the question of the audience. So what, and I think the audience is actually already answering the question. So
Okay.
what is the X factor of a digital transformation? Speed. Hang on now, we've still got more questions
Speed.
coming through here.
Cool.
So, people bought into change for their embetterment. Shane, that's a great, that's a very thought out, very thought-provoking one. Dino, possibilities previously impossible. Something with real benefit, makes things easier from Eamon, creates new value from Connor, and genuinely meeting the needs of users and making life easier from Geraldine. Actually, there's a lot of the answers talking about the end user and making things easier, ability to do the same thing in different ways, connectivity, transferring ownership to cloud provider from Antoinette. That's an interesting one because cloud would obviously tends to play a big part nowadays in digital. Connectivity, something with real benefit. God, there's so many answers. They're flying in. Interesting one from Chris, and I have a feeling we might fail on this one a lot, Chris. Not automating bad habits.
Wow, that's a good one, Chris. That's really good one. Yeah. All right. So I think I've got all those answers here as well. People said speed, transparency. This is something I get in most of the webinars. They said that because you're having a digital platform, now the data, you know what data is getting captured. And if you're going to share data across your departments, there is a transparency in what you're sharing, what you're consuming. And revenue generation, because you can have different business models. If you kind of build a digital platform, you can sell it as a different product to your customers. For example, you built a chatbot for automating, you can sell that to your customers for revenue generation. It could be productivity improvement. Don't automate your bad habits, but of course automate stuff that really requires automation, all the mundane tasks, and that could be one of the X factor which would bring in productivity improvements. Sleek interface. I heard people saying that digital transformation is all about getting a sleek chatbot or a sleek app on my iPhone. Is that the X factor of the digital transformation? We will find out. Cost savings, yes. When you automate mundane tasks, you kind of you have people focusing on other important tasks. It brings out a lot of productivity improvements as well as cost savings. And but for me, right, it is all about empathy. And I have seen that I've heard answers that Katrina was saying. People were talking about the user experience, people were talking about the end users, the end user problems being solved, and that is exactly what X factor of for digital transformation is all about. And Forrester describes this importance of focusing on empathy is the real value of a digital transformation program. And this is what we call as digital empathy. And this is how you understand the customer's pain point and you devise a solution to alleviate that pain point. And that is precisely the X factor of a digital transformation program. See how you can add value by implementing this digital platform. Not implement a platform or create an app or a bot because others are doing it. That customers do not care what kind of technology you are implementing. They care if their problems is solved or not. And if the problem is not solved, they really don't care what sleek or what complicated or a complex solution that you have put behind it. So that is what the X factor of a digital transformation program is all about. Now, let me give you another example. Airline One. So I'm just taking an hypothetical airline. Airline One. And while I was traveling from Mumbai to Dublin to speak in the PMI EMEA 2019 conference, I went to this Airline One to book my ticket. And being a tech savvy person, I decided to use the app that Airline One has on my iPhone, and I booked the ticket. And obviously I get a nice itinerary there. But what surprised me is that they also asked me whether I want to have whether I want to book a cab as well once I reach the Dublin airport. And that was quite interesting to me, because they are thinking of a seamless transfer for me from the airport the hotel destination. And that is something which kind of, gave me a good feeling about using this app. And this could probably be taken forward. It could also ask me whether I want to book a hotel as well or not, because this airline one now knows that I don't stay in Dublin. I'm going for a small trip, say for 5 days, to attend a conference or speak in a conference. So would I want to book a hotel as well? And that too near the Dublin Convention Center where the conference is been held. And this is what we call the X factor, the seamless experience that this digital platform is giving me, right? But if you look at it, this is the airline one also also gave me an option to choose an insurance provider for my travel insurance, right? So if you see that it is not the experience that I'm having only with airline one, I'm also having an experience touch point with Uber, with a hotel, with the insurance provider, and each of them plays an important role in shaping the experience that I'm having with this brand, Airline One. And that is an example of an X factor of a digital transformation program for the travel industry. And this is just for the travel industry. And as you know, digital transformation is prevalent not only for the travel industry, but for all industry nowadays, right? Even if you look at the education industry, all schools and colleges have become online right now. Even in India, my son is having online classes every day. My daughter is doing online schooling, which was never there before. So if you look at it, it is been digital transformation is there in all industries right now. It is how you create that superlative experience with your digital platform that makes your customers stick to you. All right. So this is what I said. But according to the book Leading Digital, which is written by George Westerman, Didier Bonnet, and Andrew McAfee, you will see that this was a global survey of 431 executives in 391 companies. And executives said that transforming customer experience is at the heart of all digital transformation programs. And they also said 86% of them said customer experience is a top strategic priority for them. But how do you design that experience? That experience has to be designed outside in. Does anyone know what is outside in experience design? Again, I need to go back to the chat.
So what's that question again, Priya? And I'll ask the question of the.
Yeah. So the question is, what is designing the experience outside in?
For me, Priya, would be basically design from what our customers expect and not what we think we should design.
That is correct. That is correct. So yeah, so we should first keep an eye on what the customer expect, and then kind of design the solution inside, and that is designing the experience outside it. All right. So by 2020, your customer experience will overtake the price and the product as a key brand differentiator. This is what Salesforce says today. So our focus should be more on customer experience. Now we know this. Now, what is the experience that the customer has? Is it the customer? It is the interaction with the brand only? Well, it is. That is the heart of where the experience comes in. Customers would want, for example, if I'm doing a travel booking a ticket on the app, I would like to have a personalization because from my previous travel history, the airline one knows that I like to travel by Emirates. What if it shows me options only by booking tickets on Emirates? Yes, that will give me a good personal experience, and that will help me to stick with that brand. What if I have the opportunity to change my ticketing options on my own? Yes, that will be again a good experience, and that is the experience that I'm having with the brand. And when I'm designing a solution, I should look at how much self-service I can give to the customer, whether I'm doing some personalization or not, whether I am giving him a reminder like automating emails, etc. I would like to have an automated email saying that your trip is coming up in the next 7 days. Yes, that gives me a good experience. And that is how I shape the experience with my customer. But is it only the customer experience? Well, it may not be. There are other components to this experience ecosystem, and that could be employee as well. Employees play an important role in shaping the customer experience, right? So if you keep your employees happy, they will become brand ambassadors of your brand, and that has to create that experience that the customer is having with my brand. I will give you an example. When in our organization, in this COVID era, etc., they have started an initiative called You. They are having online meditation classes at 6 to 6:30 p.m., where they take us through guided meditation. We have mailers saying revive at 5. At 5 p.m., they tell us how to do some exercises like stretching and all that is creating a good experience that I'm having with the organization. Now, I will proactively now look for customer issues, customer problems, and try to solve them as an employee, and of course under the supervision of my managers. And so organizations, when they are focusing on customer experience, they should not forget that employee experience is also an important factor in shaping the customer experience. The third, but not the least, is the partner experience. And this, I think, is the most neglected one. So, for example, when I was booking a ticket with Airline One, the Uber partner, Uber is actually a partner of the Airline One. And that if I don't have a good experience with Uber, while going from the airport to the hotel, probably I will never go back to go back to the Airline One, because I didn't have a good experience with the partner. What if the driver gives me a superlative experience? Yes. Then I think, oh, this guys not only give me an airline ticket, but they also give me a seamless transfer from the airport to the hotel. And that is also shaping my experience. What if the Airline One is also connected with the hotel and gives me a seamless check-in into the hotel? That also creates a superlative experience, and that's the partner experience. But how do we ensure that the partners are having a good experience? And that's the area that we have to focus on. We have to focus and look what kind of contracts we are having with our suppliers. Are they motivated to be associated with us, or they are just doing it for money? So I will tell you, I was in a digital transformation program, and we were suppliers, but we were treated as partners. We were called for all hands IT meeting. We were given partner awards for superlative, performance. And these are small things, but they does keep the partners engaged. And when a customer is having an touch point with the partner, they will definitely feel it. So the experience is nothing but it is an experience ecosystem. And again, I'll come back to Airline One. Airline One has an app, which is a digital transformation of the travel industry. And then through the app, I can book an Uber car, right? And Uber also, I can go ahead and book my hotel. And because Airline One has all my preferences, whether I'm veg, non-veg, whether I'm a smoker, non-smoker, it can book a non-smoking room for me. And look at that, and that will create such a wonderful experience with the Airline One. So the X factor of a digital transformation is the experience ecosystem. It is not only the experience that I'm having with the customer, but also what experience I'm giving to my employees as well as the partners. All right. So when we design our digital transformation program, what are the questions that we ask? We would want to identify the components of the ecosystem. We should understand what the customer, employee, or the partner viewpoint as well. Not only the customer, but also the employee and the partner's viewpoint as well. Do we have any tools to identify these ecosystem? Can agile principles and values help us here? As a project leader or a project manager, what can I do here to design an experience system which is superlative? What skills and techniques do I need? And how can I improve the X factor? Where should I focus? How do I uncover the blind spots, and where do I focus? So these are the few questions that I would ask myself when I'm jumping onto a digital transformation program to design a solution. Okay, so let me give you an example. And this is the Agile Manifesto. I just put a slide on it just to remind everyone the 4 values, the individuals and interactions of a process and tool, working software of a comprehensive documentation, customer collaboration of a contract negotiation, and responding to change over following a plan. Okay, let me look at the chat for a moment. Okay. All right. So this is the experience map that I had while I was booking my ticket from Mumbai to Dublin. And I I go to the airline 1 site, and my emotion is good. But I'm greeted by a chatbot, so I'm in a high emotion level now. And while I put in my details and hit the payment button, I realize I've selected the wrong airport destination. The chatbot tries to help me. Now my emotion level has come to neutral because the chatbot is not able to give me much value here. However, after struggling for 5-10 minutes, I realized the chatbot cannot help me. And that technology, which seems so cool on a digital platform, doesn't seem so cool anymore. Uh, the chatbot directs me to a call center, and this is where I get more frustrated because I'm on hold, and just like everyone might have experienced sometime, your call is important to us, but all our executives are busy handling other customers. Do stay online. And I was really upset with this because already I had made the payment and I didn't want to lose the money. And moreover, I was not getting a human touch to it. After 20 minutes of wait, I am connected to an employee of Airline One, and here the employee cannot help me. He says that she does makes the change, but she says that I would have to pay some charge. I was not happy at all. My emotion level, although not so good right now, but it is still low. But after struggling for say 10-15 minutes, she does make the changes, and she doesn't charge me because the change was requested within an hour or so. On the 24 hours before the travel, I try to do a web check-in, and I try to get an aisle seat. Unfortunately, all aisle seats were booked. I don't know how, and that again didn't give me a good experience with Airline One. And I do get the book a middle seat, and I take a boarding pass, web check-in. I do a web check-in, and I get a boarding pass. However, on the day of the travel, I go to the airport and I interact with the employee at the airport, and they do some changes, and I'm able to get an aisle seat. As soon as I do a check-in and I get my boarding pass, I get a message from the Uber partner asking whether I would like to book a cab or not from the airport to my hotel destination, and that made me a little happy. So cool, isn't it? And giving a chauffeur driven car at the airport, and you don't even have to worry about it. However, when I went to book the cab, I see there's a surcharge in the price, and that kind of again doesn't make me so happy. However, I seamlessly booked the Uber, and I board the airplane. The employee was very courteous. I have an aisle seat, good food, so my experience is high again. At the airport, the employees do assure me and guide me to the ground staff, guide me to the right exit, and I see my Uber car waiting for me there, and the driver was courteous, and I was quite happy at this point of time because I didn't have to waste time waiting for a cab in a new city, and the driver partner really did a good job by taking me to my hotel, which is again a partner. And because the airline one knew my preferences, it could take me to a non-smoking room, seamless check-in that happened, and I was presented by a key to my non-smoking room. I didn't even have to wait for it, right? And that is what I call a superlative experience. It wasn't superlative in the beginning, but at the end I did end on a higher note. If you look at it, there have been points, there has been touch points with the employee, with the partners, etc., right? And there are some cases where I was not happy, and the partner could have done a better job, or the employee could have done a better job in in shaping my experience with Airline One. And that is what I call the X factor or the seamless experience of a digital transformation program. Now, I will ask you to pause for a moment and think of something that you've experienced yesterday, today, and for which you've been through a high and low. Let us try to build an experience map. And yesterday, Katrina gave us some, Katrina, Jackie, and Clive. They did send me some experience map just for the paucity of time. I wanted to do it live, but they did send me that experience map, and we could go through it in a. Katrina, do we have time to discuss the experience maps?
I think you probably have time to do one of them,
Katrina,
I would say. Yeah, I'd say you have time to do one of them. So please pick Jackie or Clive, because theirs are better than mine. Mine is a black and white.
Okay, so these are the cool experience maps that the panelists did, and this is the one that Jackie, you have sent it to me. So would you want to explain?
Okay, so in the interest of time, guys, and I know we're going into an awful lot of detail here about experiences, so we might pace it up a little bit, you know, after this. But let me just quickly run you through my experience map. So this was a real life incident that happened to me in the middle of all this coronavirus last week. I pay my AA car insurance by direct debit. So don't have to worry about it. And I have a bank account that money goes into every month. Anyway, that's all grand and fine. I get this letter last week basically saying your direct debit has been denied. So now your insurance is going to be cancelled within the next 10 days. And you have to pay upfront the full amount because you're after missing one of the contract's phases. So my initial reaction to that was shock. Then it was sort of a panic and despair because, oh my God, I've no insurance, and with everything else, I can't go into them. So then I said, okay, right, I'll check my bank account. So then when I checked the bank account, I noticed that the direct debit came out a day earlier, which meant that the funds didn't go into that account till the next day, and that's why there wasn't funds in the account. So I was saying, okay, right, it's not the end of the world. Query, get on the mobile phone to them, ring them, and I'll sort it out. And then lo and behold, Priya, exactly like you, the dreaded IVR, the interactive voice recognition. It's like, oh my God, can I speak to a real person? Okay, calm down, Jackie. You're going to be on this for the long haul. So the usual thing, you hold on for 10 minutes. Your voice is important to us. Yes, we appreciate you, blah, blah, blah. And especially during coronavirus, our volumes are quite high. So, okay, take a little snooze break. Then you get on, you go through all the authentication. What was your date of birth? What did you have for breakfast, etc. Yes, you are who you say you are. Brilliant, great. Yeah, and what's your query? Yeah, no, you're onto the wrong section, even though you've pressed the right number at the front. So maybe just customer feedback, you might check your IVR. Yeah, but I can't help you. Right, fine, forward me on to someone else. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, yeah, and this is what I'm looking for. Yeah, I total empathy, lovely person on the phone. Yeah, unfortunately, I haven't got the authority to do anything about that at all. You have to go on to someone else. So by this stage, I'm fuming. It's like, oh, to hell, I'm not going to go with AA anymore. I'm going to pick someone else. So eventually then I get on to someone and they say, yes, what's needed to do is X, Y, and Z, but you need to get onto this department. So I've been passed around 4 times. So I'm losing the will to live. I then get on to a really nice girl who says, oh yeah, that happens every now and again. No problem. Have you got your bank card? Yeah, give us the number there. So after about 20 minutes in the middle, so the digital transformation, like if just bringing it back to digital transformation and the X factor was, you know, 4 zeros coming into this one. But if they had looked at the cradle to grave customer experience, they would have known that IVR piece in the middle needs to be re-looked at as far as digital transformation.
Right.
So that was my tuppence worth.
Okay, that is so cool. And that IVR piece in the middle could be, or the call center could be a partner. It could not, it may not be the bank. Yeah. So how do you, you know, coach your partner to make our customers feel more valued, right? That could have been a way to look at it, right?
But I
Do
think,
we have time?
Perry, just to come back to your point about digital transformation, I think what's key is that, and I think someone mentioned it, I think someone mentioned it earlier on, saying not transforming the bad habits. I think, you know, looking at the customer experience cradle to grave and look at the value add and where there's no value add. And then again, to your point that you made earlier on, saying about the customer experience, to make sure, well, is this really a good experience? Yes, it'll take the human touch out. So it might save us a couple of pence in terms of cost savings for the company, but is it enhancing the customer experience? So I think back to your point, I think that's what needs to be looked at when we're looking at scope.
Yeah. All right. So when we design our solutions, maybe an exercise like this can help us to understand what the customer is going through when they're interacting with our brand. Okay. So this was something that Clive made. Do you think we have time to go through it, or we can just not sure? Yeah. Do we want to go through it, or we have time? Or
yeah, okay, guys. As you can see, myself and my wife got a mad idea that we do a bit of renovation in our house. So we decided we bring our lovely bank, see could we get a loan or a top-up mortgage, because I had a mortgage previously on the house being built years ago. So that was fine. Filled in all the paperwork over the phone with the guy on the phone. Yeah, he comes to me, brilliant. I was delighted. He says, oh, 24, 48 hours, you should have a response back from us. About a week later, still hadn't heard anything. So slept on it for a while, started to get slightly annoyed now that I hadn't heard anything back after telling me, because if someone tells me they're going to do something at a time, I'm very particular about that time. So I ring again, find out, go to the bank again, find out, oh, because your wife wasn't on the previous mortgage, we'll have to go to legal things, basically go to the land registry, get her put on the deeds and all this. That was fine, but I didn't mind any of that. What was most confusing about it, when we went into the banks, the two department, the legal department did not correspond with the actual lending department. So neither of them knew what was going on among themselves. So every time I rang one, they couldn't tell me the others. I had to ring the other. Between both departments. What was supposed to be a 48-hour response time ended up over nearly a year and a half before it was confirmed that the mortgage was. So basically, as I said, we got the documents approved and everything. I was delighted, mortgage approved. We go ahead, do our building, delighted with the building and everything. But now we're back down to being sad again, because now I have to pay the mortgage repayments. That's customer experience.
Good.
But as a customer experience, and they gave a feedback, they sent out a survey to me, the banks did, they rang me and everything, but still I would not deal with the bank again.
Right.
Just based
so although they had a cool app and some digital platform built in where you could get your mortgage approved within 48 hours, but it really didn't help because the process was flawed probably. So that's what I know. Someone said don't automate bad habits. So that's where we should look into, where the blind spots are, and such a visualization. If you share this with the bank, maybe they will understand where they are going wrong, and that's how they can improve. And so when we are designing our solutions, we should probably do an exercise with our partners, with our customers, so that we know what they are going through right now and what problems we need to solve. We don't want to solve a problem that the customer does not have at all. And such a digital transformation program might not help anyone. All right. So were we agile as such when we did all these exercises, right? Let us see whether we were. What tools did we use? Did we use, remember the value in individuals and interactions over processes and tools? Yeah. And here our tool was only a pen or a paper. And of course, Jackie and Clive made it very interesting with some presentation and all. They did in PPT. That was, but it is very simple, right? We didn't need any complex tools to do this exercise. And if we do this exercise with our team members, with inter-departments, right, between team members within different departments, within our teams, with our partners, with our customers, this will definitely enhance dialogue. right? Because you are sitting with them and understanding their problems. They are sitting with you, understanding your problem, and we can understand each other's viewpoint. So that's definitely is going to enhance the dialogue. It will improve collaboration as well. And I have faced this, because when you put them together for say 1 day or 2 day, visualizing the problems, they kind of start becoming friends. Enemies become friends. I've seen this, because they really understand the pain that you are going through, and what if a little cooperation from the other department can help us to resolve a bigger problem. So, and if we do this with our customers, they will not start complaining every time, because they were part of this exercise as well. So that is a way to engage your customers, your employees, or your partners in this entire exercise. And does it help us to see the big picture? Visualization does help us to see the big picture. So this is something, that one experience map that we discussed here, but there are many other techniques like customer journey map, life in a day of your customer. They say DILO, DILO. Or you can do an empathy map to see what emotions your customer is going through, what he sees, what he thinks, what he talks. And that can help us to build much more better products. It will help us to see a bigger picture. It will create a shared understanding between the different partners in the experience ecosystem. And with this, I will recap. X factor of a digital transformation is not the technology, but the experience that you're creating. Experience ecosystem, customer, employee, and the partners, they all form the experience ecosystem. It is not the customer alone. Also, always try to visualize to enhance the experience that a customer is having, the employee is having, and the partner is having. And that will bring out the X factor of a digital transformation program. And with this is something that I presented in PMI Sweden's Passion for Projects conference, and they scribed this entire session. And this is what they are talking about: the customer experience, and they are talking about the app. The X factor in the digital transformation can be many things, but this is what CD tells me. And this is the experience. Customers don't care how it works, only the fact that it works and it solves their problem. And this is my experience map: the chatbot, the customer agent, the web, the Uber, the airline, etc. And this is an experience map. Work with experience maps, and that helps us to enhance dialogue, collaboration, creates a shared language, uncover the bias, and it keeps things simple. And these are the tools that we used. And we still do need people. Tools are okay, but we still need people. And visuals always enable us to see the big picture. And this is the scribe that was made at the Passion for Projects conference, and on the 9th of March. I could not go because of coronavirus, but I did present this virtually. And I was very overwhelmed to see this visualization, and I thought I should share this with you as well. And with that, this is my visual resume. I am the program manager with CapGemini. I'm a project manager like all of y'all, and I chase storms to relax. I also lead the agile community of practice within the organization. I'm the brand of the employer, so uh, I do create the brand of Capgemini on social media by posts and some initiatives that we are doing internally, whatever is allowed to post, and I'm encouraged by the organization to do that. I do speak in many national and international conferences. So far, I have spoken in around, say, 30 conferences at many webinars. I am a social media champion. I was invited by PMI Global twice, once in Orlando, once in Los Angeles, to cover the global conference on social media. And I've been their social media champion. I do write blogs when I'm not doing anything. I'd like to dream about how the future of PM work will be, how the future of project managers work would be. And so you can follow me on Agile, W2W, Speaker Priya, Future of PM work, and this will show all the blogs that I've written so far. And with this, these are my coordinates. Do connect with me on priya.patra@gmail.com, @priyapatra on Twitter, and that's my LinkedIn profile. And with this, I hand it over to you, Katrina, for any questions. If you have time, I can take.
Thanks, Priya. So hopefully I'll get my screen sharing with you guys in a second. We have a couple of questions and a little bit of feedback coming in as well. So I'm just going to try and see two screens at the one time, and I'm not very tech savvy. Experience map is a great takeaway, which is nice. So love the visuals. So there's a few that really like the visuals. So you guys can look at the menti.com and you'll see the feedback coming in from people. So Priya, one question here from someone. Could this be applied to healthcare, not noted for being customer centric, but forced into digital transformation by recent events? That's an interesting commentary anyway, in our COVID-19 situation, I think.
Yeah, so yes, it can be leveraged in the healthcare as well. And right now it is, I think, most prevalent. I have been seeing in the news that, people are doing consultation over video chats and all, because it is not safe for people, those who don't have COVID-19, to go to the hospitals. We are not allowed to go to the hospitals if you are not having COVID-19. So yes, they are using digital platforms to kind of do consultation. We also have an app in India, and we call it Aragyo Setu, where you can put in your details and it tracks your location and it tells you whether you are in a zone which is vulnerable or a hotspot, because if they find that people around you are having COVID, they will warn you. So yes, this is also digital transformation of the healthcare industry, right? So yes, it can be. We were forced into it, right? But I think we are leveraging it. We can have, we are having drones which are kind of, surveying and seeing whether people are really under lockdown or not. And they are announcing that, messages that you got to go inside, you're not supposed to gather around and all that stuff. This is also a digital transformation. And once they see that, people are gathering around, they are passing that information to the cops, so that the cops can come and, say that, crowding is not allowed, you have to be under lockdown. So these are some of the events that came to my mind where it's been leveraged in the COVID-19 situation in the healthcare industry as such.
Thanks, Priya. So actually, we have run out of time because there's a lot of people asking some nice feedback on the interaction and on the experience map, which is great, and a good few questions on looking for other examples. So digital transformation is always an interesting topic, guys, and I think we'll probably run another session on it in the future as well, and maybe we'll take some of this feedback. So we are out of time, and I'm conscious that this is your lunchtime. So thank you very much, Priya. This has been great. The interaction has been great, and it's difficult enough to manage that on a webinar, so we really appreciate that. To everyone in the audience, we had 88 people join us on the webinar today, which is great. So we've had really good uptake, and as we will share the Menti poll results as well with the recording of the webinar and the slides. So we are getting a nice group of people from all over Ireland, which we really are happy with as well. So before we close out, just a couple of notes on the PDU. So we had assigned one technical PDU for attending this webinar. If you attended the webinar and if I have your PMI number, I will take care of the registration for that PDU. If there's any issues at all, you probably get an email from me. And the self-registration is really simple, so don't worry about it. But for future webinars, just remember, if you pop in your PMI membership number, I'll be able to look after that claim code for you. And a final note before we close out is just to let you guys know, this is not moving for me, which is typical. So we've got a good few webinars upcoming. We have webinars now actually running out until the end of June. So if you keep an eye on the calendar and the list of events, you'll actually see some more pop up in the next week or two for June as well. And don't forget that you also can use projectmanagement.com for exactly the same thing. And you'll get the international flavor. So you may come across Priya again in another webinar. So sure. That's it, guys. Thank you very much for your time. Clive, Jackie, thank you very much for being great panelists and doing great experience maps for Priya. And Priya, thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thanks for inviting me.
Thanks, everybody, and thanks for your patience with the technology. So hopefully we're doing okay. All right.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thank you very
everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.